Hi, good morning. It's Paul here, and that's Murphy, by the way, with another Q&A, another lockdown Q&A session. Harry's insisted that I come out during lockdown to do some little self-filming, so I've got my camera on the tripod there. Excuse the dogs wandering around in the background. I am socially distanced, I am alone, I am in lockdown, but I am able to answer the questions that you've been posting on our YouTube channel in the comment sections and through our social media. So without any further ado, let's crack on and get some of those answered. So I've got my laptop here with the questions on, so excuse me just glancing down. First one is from Guy Illott, and Guy asks, when do you choose weight of kit over durability? Well, Guy, that's a fair question, I guess. And the choice would really be determined by what you're doing, where you're doing it, and what time of year it is. So it really depends on those kind of three factors. And it also depends on where you're wearing the kit. And what I mean by that, for instance, is that you want your boots and generally your leg wear to be more durable than your upper wear, because those are parts of the body that get the most abuse. I am notorious for wrecking footwear. I won't bore you with the details about my feet, but I go through footwear at a fair old rate. I wear it out very quickly, so I tend to wear more durable footwear. I've given up with lightweight footwear. It just doesn't last, just doesn't do the job for me. So I will generally wear good trekking or hiking boots for all of my outdoor activities, and obviously mountaineering boots when I'm adventuring a little bit more up into the mountains. And likewise with my leg wear, I've got my trusty Terra Mission pants on. They're a tough, durable, soft shell trouser. And I tend to wear those for everything because I'm kicking about through the woods with the dogs, I'm up in mountains, I'm going through scree, bracken, you know, the kind of things that are going to wear and tear your trousers. So those are parts of your kit that need to be more durable, where you can get away with lighter kit up on top if you're just doing general hiking and mountain walking, because it tends to get less abuse. Now obviously if you're going to go and thrutch up Five Finger Gully on the back of Ben Nevis, you're going to want all your kit to be durable. And likewise, if you're running the spine race, Montaigne spine race, you're going to want all your kit to be super, super lightweight. So it really does depend on what you're doing, where you are, and on what part of body you're wearing your kit. Here's an interesting one from Thomas Armstrong Reed. What are some of the best ways to find friends to go on walking, hiking, wild camping adventures with? Right now, Thomas, it's going to be a bit tricky because of COVID restrictions, etc. But when we can go out into the mountains again, there's nothing better than going out with a few friends, enjoying a day out in the mountains and sharing your adventures. So if you're struggling to connect with people, first place I'd look is online. I'd go onto Facebook, I'd go onto Instagram, and I'd search out local groups, local communities who already got members, and just get in touch with them, get in contact with them. You'll invariably find somebody who will be happy to do some car sharing with you, lift sharing, show you new areas, introduce you to new hiking trails, etc. So yes, social media, it's massive. We all know how effective it is. And that would be my first port of call. Other things you could have a look at is again, scour the internet for local walking clubs and groups. People like British Mountaineering Council have links to all local walking groups. If you're a climber, UKC or UKH, UK Hill Walking, again, you can. They have good community pages, and things like the Ramblers Association. You know, it's they've got a bit of an unfortunate. What am I trying to say here? It's a little bit unfortunate that most people think of the Ramblers Association as for our more elderly members of society, but not at all. They are for all ages, and they're a really great organisation at bringing people together and getting them outdoors and getting them walking and enjoying the countryside. So Ramblers Association, I would heartily recommend. And the other thing you could do is have a look online for your local outdoor centre, or maybe not local, and sign up for a skills course. Get some navigation techniques under your belt, get some winter skills under your belt, get some scrambling skills under your belt. Just get some good hill knowledge under your belt through a recognised course, through a recognised provider, and you will meet like-minded people on that course who I'm sure would be happy to share their adventures with you. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions here around boots, and I'm gonna preface this one with my stock answer, which is the best pair of boots are the ones that fit you properly and are fit for purpose. And that pretty much answers all boot related questions. But 2PV Joe and Mandy asks, what hiking boots would you recommend for flat feet? She had a quick Google and it came up with a particular brand, but I'm guessing that Google's suggestions will be based on an algorithm depending on how much money that brand threw at Google at that particular time. So if you've got flat feet, I would heartily recommend you go to your local boot specialist, your outdoor shop, get a proper boot fit and ask to have a look at something like a Superfeet insole. They go inside your boots, they replace the existing insoles, they provide support and stability for your feet, and your feet will thank you. They're not just suitable for flat feet, they're suitable for normal feet, high arch feet, wide feet, narrow feet. They act in a way to stabilise the heel through the arch of the foot and into the toe and the ball of the foot, to alleviate pressure and strain and to provide support so your foot isn't having to do all that hard work over all those miles. So get yourself to your local specialist. Trekitt are pretty good, I've heard. And get yourself a boot fit, and those specialists in the shop will make sure you get the right boots, the right insoles, the right socks, and you'll have miles and miles of happy feet. Paul Broderick asks, well, he asks and then he says, I am the owner of a Rab Microlight Alpine jacket and hope to travel to Nepal to trek the Annapurna circuit. What down jacket would be suitable to make it over the Throng Pass? Well, I've done the Annapurna circuit and I've been over the Throng Pass. I did it in 1989 with my dad, just after I joined Trekitt. We had about a month out there trekking and climbing, fabulous time. The Throng Pass is up at 5,200 metres, and I think you find your Microlight Alpine just might be a little under-jacketed. Ideally, you want something that's lightweight and packable because it's going to spend most of the time in your pack, and then you're going to get it out in the evening. Once that sun drops below the horizon or hides behind a mountain, the temperature drops like a stone and it gets very cold very quickly. So you want something with good insulation that's lightweight and packable. I would look for something that's got around 200 grams of down fill weight, so not the weight of the jacket, that's the amount of down inside the jacket. And you want something with a fill power of at least 700, 750 plus. And I'm quoting down here, synthetic jackets are also available, but because the jacket's going to spend most of your time in the pack, it needs to be super compressible and as light as possible. So down really is the best insulation material for those purposes. It's exactly what it was designed for. You know, whip it out when it gets cold, put it in your pack when you don't need it. So jackets like the Rab Axiom Pro, the Electron Pro from Rab, the Mountain Equipment Light Line, the Montane Antifreeze, the Rab Infinity, Mountain Equipment Cryos if you're feeling particularly flush, it's a beautiful jacket. Something like that, those kind of jackets, something with a good amount of down in it and a good fill power too. Oh, another booty one. How do you measure your own feet for shoes or boots? Or is it better to get a proper boot fitting in store? And there's a second part to this question, but we'll do it after this bit. And this is from Akiva Nomad. So on our website, we have endeavoured to give you as much information as possible to help you get as good a fit as possible from your boots without having to come and get a pro boot fit. It's always better to get a pro boot fit. It's always better to go and get your feet measured properly at a local specialist and get the advice and the help that you need. But we understand that that's not always possible. So you'll find on most of our boot pages a thing called a buyer's guide, and that will give you some tips about measuring your feet to give you as close an indication as possible of how the boots are going to fit. But like I said, you cannot beat a pro boot fit. And when we're open again in Hereford at the service centre, you can make an appointment, you can come and visit us, and we will give you our undivided attention and ensure that you leave with the right pair of boots that fit you properly. So yeah, that's a simple answer to that one. It is better to get a proper boot fit or use the advice on our website. So the second part of Akiva Nomad's question is, can you define the difference between the Arc'teryx Atom LT and the Arc'teryx Proton LT? Well, yes, I can, but I'm not sure I can answer it once and for all, like you've asked, because there'll be people who don't see this video and they'll probably ask the same question. It's a very common question, we get asked a lot. The main difference, your overriding difference, is in the face fabric. So the Atom has a highly windproof, highly weather resistant, breathable face fabric, whilst the Proton has an air permeable face fabric, which is mega breathable and a little bit windproof and a little bit weather resistant. Okay, so the Atom works best for lower intensity activities where weather resistance, windproofing is far more important than breathability. It's still breathable, but your main consideration is keeping the weather off. Whilst the Proton, the main consideration would be for your breathability. So it's better suited for high output activities where you're working hard. And like I said, the breathability is the most important thing than out and out weather resistance. So the Atom works really well as an outer layer and quite well as a mid layer, whereas the Proton works really, really, really well as a mid layer and quite well as an outer layer. You know, there's a blurring of the lines between the two, but we have found, just through sales basically, that the Atom is by far the most popular of the two jackets, simply because it's much more versatile. It's breathable enough. You know, it's not that it's not breathable, it's just not as breathable as the Proton, but it's breathable enough and it's got that great wind and weather resistance. The Proton is a little bit more focused, a little bit more pointed in its application because it is suited for those high strenuous, high activity outings where breathability is absolutely paramount. And I think that's enough for today. I'm getting quite cold, dogs are getting bored, so I'm going to say toodaloo. Until next time, where I hopefully can answer some more of your questions, pop them in the comments section below, and we'll keep adding them to the list, and we shall be producing more of these Q&A videos. So thanks for watching. Toodaloo.